Hi everyone, welcome to LectoraLive. I'm Rick Zanotti, and this is our pre-show. We're just kind of making sure all the shots are working, our audio's good. We've got with us Jane Erwin. She is with us. She's a second timer. She's been on this show before. And you were one of the first on the show, I think. We've had I think you were guest 2 or 3. It was really early on.
It was before the 4th of July weekend, be a year and a half ago, I think.
Yeah. Was it a year and a half already?
I think so.
Gosh, it just flies. Time goes fast. And I think this is show either 44 or 45.
And I think I was 7. Maybe.
Was it 7th? Okay.
7.
Yeah, time flies. And now, did you go to the Lectora User Conference?
I did not.
You didn't? Okay. That was the first time we went in 10 years of being with the product. And it was fun. It was actually a good show. Fort Lauderdale was interesting. I hadn't been there before. Okay, shall we start the show recording? Okay, so let's put it on the single shot to start, and then we'll come in and introduce you. Jane, before we start, what is the name of the company or agency you're working with?
Michigan Public Health Institute.
Michigan Public Health Institute. Okay. Okay. So we're ready to go to the single shot, and I will introduce her. Hello, everyone. Welcome to LectoraLive, your inside track into Lectora. Today, we've got with us Jane Erwin. She's a second-time guest. She was on, I think, somewhere in the top first 10 guests, and she will be with us shortly. Here we go. We're back, and well, look who just joined us right next to me here. It's Jane. Hey, Jane, how are you?
I'm good, Rick. How are you?
I am very good, and this is the last show of our season, so you get to grace our very last show until next year. So we'll be back again, probably the second week of January with new shows. So Jane, what have you been up to since last time we talked to you? You've definitely gotten more into Lectora. We talked a little bit about Lectora 17 and in the pre-show, but we'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. What's new in the line of work you're doing? And I think you were going to give us a sample of something that you can use Lectora for to gather information and yet also work with CourseMill for logins.
Yes. The big thing is obviously with 16 in the responsive course design, we kind of dove right into that. And we're really excited about some of the products we're putting out. And it's been a big learning curve for not only us, but also our customers, getting them to understand what responsive course design is and what it means. But we can't just put 52 lines of text on a course page and call it good.
Yeah.
So it's educating the customer and getting them to understand why it's important and how many people are now using mobile devices instead of just a regular desktop or laptop. So that's been fun, and we've been diving into that and using that a whole lot.
That's good. Now, we were talking pre-show a little bit about a project you've done where you needed to capture information for a client so that they would comply with their federal grant money and everything like that. What exactly did you do on that?
Well, for the project, it's My Health Link. It's a federally funded project, and part of it was the program is only in a certain number of counties in the state of Michigan. So what they wanted to do to meet the requirements, they had to gather the demographics of not only name and address, but which county they were in, which ICO they were part of, which is Integrated Care Organization. They also needed to catch information as far as user role, nurse practitioner, social worker, things like that. So a lot of information that the out-of-the-box CourseMill wasn't really able to do friendly-wise. So we put together a custom create new user screen, and to do that we used Lectora, which was a lot of fun, and a lot of actions and variables to play around with.
That's pretty good. Now, you said you could share your screen, maybe show how that kind of plays out?
Yep. So...
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize you can use Lectora to write really to databases and other things. You can do all sorts of... Is that what you're doing? You're writing to a database?
It's actually storing right in CourseMill.
Oh, right.
So,
Okay.
all right. How do I...
Oh, you're on Skype, so Mac or PC?
PC.
PC. So I think you go into... Is it communication?
I was looking at conversation.
Conversation. I think there's a share my screen.
I'm not seeing it there.
Maybe it's the next one over.
Share screens.
Share screens.
So you should see...
Yep. Yeah, we're
that.
seeing your screen perfectly.
So that was the custom screen we put together. And because they wanted to make sure people who aren't within their regions or their integrated care organizations, they wanted to make sure that they were still capturing information for people who registered. So we had to add different things, like the red text you see there wasn't added later. The supported browsers at the bottom we had to add later. But we've set it up so that if they click Region 1, it only shows the ICOs available in that region. So we're limiting what options they can select on the right side based on what they select on the left.
Now, is this before they log in or right after they log in?
This is when they create an account. So straight off. So if I hit cancel here, that's the login screen, and this is when we create new user.
Oh, okay.
And to use that, we used Lectora, and from here you can see that registration page, the actions, the buttons, the form, as far as the different things that go into creating that.
Yeah, it looks like there's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, we had to work closely with Tremendous because we'd get to it, we almost got it point, and then just something wasn't working right, and we couldn't figure it out. So we worked closely with Tremendous to troubleshoot some of those issues. But we've got a lot of good response from it, and I believe the last we checked, there are over 1,500 people that they've registered to take their courses.
And then you said this is actually, the information is stored on the LMS, which is a database. And
Yes.
so they can report on this?
Yes, we use, with CourseMill 7, we've got the advanced reporting.
Oh, yeah.
So we created custom reports. I believe there's 25 custom reports we created, and they're based on the different regions. And so the reporter from Region 7 can only pull and see the people who are in his region and get those results.
Yeah, that's really cool because you don't have to go to a programming language or to... now, are you using JavaScript at all in this, or is it strictly Lectora?
There was... Where was it at? That's basically the only added programming we did, and it was just to get the variables as far as logins and passwords.
Okay, right. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Not a lot of coding.
No. I know enough code to be dangerous. And
That's one of the things I've always liked about Lectora. That I have a programming background, but not everyone in Lectora does, and you don't have to be a programmer to be able to do a lot of this stuff. You kind of have to know the logic, but they do make that easy compared to having to rewrite the whole thing in either a web language or JavaScript, Java, or whatever else you're using. This saves a lot of time, and that's pretty good. So you're storing this as part of the student's record, or did you have to create like your own little database inside of CourseMill?
We used the native CourseMill, oh God, what are they called? I'm drawing a blank here. The variables that they use.
Yeah, like their database, whatever is native to the...
Yep.
Yeah.
The suborgs, there you go, the
Oh, okay.
suborgs. We just use the suborgs as far as like suborg 0 would be the user's region.
Okay.
Suborg 1 would be whichever one of the ICOs they selected. So we assigned the suborgs that are native to CourseMill to the registration form we created.
That's cool. That's cool. Because suborg really is like a sub-organization. It's other data that they would keep if you had multiple organs. That's pretty cool. Do you have any limit to how many you can put in, or is it pretty open?
I think I want to say there were only 18 suborgs in CourseMill. So that was the limit. But like the first name, last name, those are already defined
Right.
variables in CourseMill already. So we didn't have to waste one of the suborgs on those. They're already there.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. What made you use Lectora to do this?
We didn't see a way. We tried using out-of-the-box CourseMill and tried to customize the suborgs and the names, but we just couldn't find a way to get, if we select region 1, only this ICO is available. So we blundered around trying to figure it out, and at that time, I think we're still on 12. So we'd found a couple different websites that said use Lectora to create your custom site. So then we found that, and Trevanis also had a couple user guides to guide us with that information too.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize you can use Lectora to create a website. It
Yes.
actually works pretty well. It's not hard to do either. Everybody says, let's go to Dreamweaver or let's do this. I go, you could also use Lectora. It's fast enough to do it, and the resulting HTML is actually pretty quick. So it's not a problem. It's pretty cool. If I keep telling John, John Blackman, who's the CTO, I said, all you need to do is add a couple more features, and now you have a web development kit. They could sell a different product. You don't have to say it's e-learning. You could say you have an e-learning product, a web development product. That'd be cool. I think he thinks I'm insane, but I think it's actually a good idea. So, but we were talking a little bit pre-show about Lectora 17, and they've made a lot of changes. They've added a lot of stuff. I like the UI that I've seen so far. It's cleaner. It's not so cluttered. They still have the ribbons, but there's more room now. Things are organized, I think, a little easier to follow, especially for somebody who's just getting into it, and a little more contrast. So I was pretty happy with that one. I'm the contrast maniac. It's like, we need contrast. And so they did that. And I just only played with it like about a couple of hours so far. I haven't really delved into it too much. Have you had a chance to play with it at all yet?
No, we just saw the webcast. The couple things that did excite me about it, though, like the developer tools you see off to the right side of the screen, where you get to the Inspire tools, eLearning Brothers, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I like that you can now toggle a checkbox to make those clickable, because I don't know how many times I've been developing and I move my mouse over there and the thing just slides across the screen.
Right.
It's like, come on.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, it was a little, but they fixed it. So
They
that's
fixed
good.
that, and then I think the other one we're really excited to try out is the page transitions. So the global page transitions, they look like they're a lot smoother and
They
a
are.
lot more
It's
intuitive.
finally. I was really glad to see that, because that now can make a course look more like a movie if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
And that's cool. That took a lot of rewriting. I mean, they had to rewrite quite a bit of their framework to do that, and it's great. I mean, we've had transitions now for quite a while, but this makes it much smoother.
It does.
Much cleaner. And the problem isn't Lectora, it's the browsers. The way the
is.
browsers look at the HTML, they like to flash things. And by doing it this way, it's just real clean now. It's just a lot cleaner. So there's been a lot of little changes. And for example, they've done a lot of work in the graphics area with boxes and any kind of shapes. Now they look super sharp, super clean. It's converting shapes to SVGs, scalable vector graphics, and that's nice. They're not that big, but now when you zoom in, you could see the total sharpness of the shape. There's no stepping of the graphics, so that's good. That was one thing I like, because we try to make pretty graphical interfaces, and we do a lot of work with graphics, and that helps. That helps a lot to make things look better. Anything else that you saw that you liked or that you're looking forward to working with?
BranchTrack.
BranchTrack. Okay. Do you guys have it already?
Well, when Lori mentioned that it was coming in 17, I went out and created one of the free accounts on their site.
Yeah.
And just played around, and it was one of those situations where I got lost when I was playing, and I look up and it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, I should probably go home. But I wanted to see just how detailed and in-depth I could get, so I found a website that had like a choose-your-own-adventure type story, and they were already written out. I'm like, I'm just going to borrow this.
Yep.
So I put together a branch track that ended up being, what was it, 200 some odd steps.
Wow, that's good.
Let me show you this really quick.
BranchTrack's a pretty cool product. We resell it for Sergey Snegarov, who's been on the show, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 times. He's a good friend, and he's done a really good job creating the tool. And I don't know if you've done this yet, but it also integrates with Lectora as far as variables and anything. So you could actually extend it beyond what it already does. Yeah,
I've read that, and I'm excited to play with it because you can trigger that to be like if they choose this at this step, then it does that.
Yeah, you've got a lot of stuff in that one.
Yeah, this one goes all the way to 213. And
wow.
Like I said, I got lost. I was playing.
That's pretty cool.
And just different things I learned as I was playing with it.
Have you shown that to Sergey? You may have one of the longest or biggest ones out there.
I have not. I shared that with my team. They called me a geek.
That's funny. You actually stayed at the office till 1 doing that?
Yeah,
that's classic.
I get obsessive on some things.
That's cool. That's cool.
And just different things I discovered as I was playing with it. So like you'd put an image as a background on one and not paying attention and thinking, oh, well, I'll just change that image on the next one. But then if you weren't paying attention and you'd have the backtrack part, it didn't keep the image the way I thought it would. There was a lot of times I'd go forward, and then when I'd go back, it would keep the previous image, not the one that should have been there type thing. So there's a checkbox somewhere in there. You
right,
just got to make sure.
Yeah. And then when you actually start using it within Lectora, as when you embed it rather than online, embed it into Lectora, now you have full access to all of the variables in BranchTrack, as well as you can make it do things that it probably can't do, or track things that it really can't track. We've used that a little bit in some of the work we've done. It's pretty cool. It's not that hard to work with. Sergey just sat us down and spent about 30 minutes showing one of our people how to use the variables, what they do. And from that moment on, we were off to the races. It was pretty easy. It wasn't too hard at all. And then you're not online at that moment. Now you've got an offline course. The only thing with that is if you make changes to BranchTrack again online, now you've got to re-export and import it back in, which means a little extra work.
Okay.
But it's not hard. It's not that hard to do or to retrofit something like that.
We're excited about it. We've got a couple of new courses coming up that we've talked to the customers about, specifically the capabilities with BranchTrack, letting them know that the onus is on them. They're going to have to come up with these stories, but that if you're talking scenario-based learning and trying to get people to make the right decisions at any given point in time, one of them is for the state security course. So they're talking people leaving at the end of the day and a choice there. Do they log off? Do they shut down? They're leaving an emergency. They want to take their laptop. Do they load their work on their desktop, or do they put their laptop in their trunk or in their car?
Right.
What happens if it's stolen? So it's all decision points along the way, and they're relatively simple stories, but we're not the experts, so we're trying to get the customers to understand, we've got this tool, we just need your knowledge to fill in the gaps.
Yep. Have you put in VoiceOver into the BranchTrack?
I have not yet.
It works
the couple
really
they've
well.
showed on their website is kind of those simulated fake accent ones. But
Right. the text-to-speech, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it actually takes VoiceOver pretty well. So you could have different things happening. You can record your own voice. You can import a voice. So that's kind of a nice feature too, that you're not limited to a silent movie or text-to-speech. You can actually import and add anything to it, and
Yep.
it's fun. It's a simple tool, and yet it's got quite a bit of power, and they're adding stuff to it all the time and trying to make it better. But really, if you have that complex a tool to create a scenario, then you're not going to use it. So
Right.
this makes it easy to use and fun. I think it's a fun tool.
Because we've tried, one of the courses we did, we tried creating a branching type scenario just in Lectora, and the sheer number of actions and variables that you have to get the paths to go the right way.
It's tedious.
It's tedious and it's daunting, and all it takes is one misplaced action or going to the wrong page, and you're like, uh-oh, we're lost. Where do we go?
Yeah, that's the problem. I think almost all of the authoring tools have the same issue because they're not built to really manage branching, per se. They all branch, but when you're branching to that level, you got all these decision trees that they're just not built for that. You have to create it from scratch. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, and that's what I loved about the BranchTrack, because you've got, not only are you typing all the stuff so you can see the words there, but like in that graphic I showed you, you've got the visual of where each box is pointing and what everyone's doing. And there was also flags that if you had a step in any given one that didn't go anywhere, there'd be a flag on the screen saying, you got something happening here that's not doing anything and it should be.
Right.
So you got all those visual cues right there. That's great.
That's good. I'm still getting over your branch. That was a really long. That was pretty cool. I want to see that running. I want to see that running one of these days. That'd be cool. That'd be fun. But anyway, so what have you seen in the last, let's say, year and a half since we talked? Anything new in e-learning or in development that you're seeing, trends, things that are changing or haven't changed?
From our perspective, because we still deal mostly with the state of Michigan in public health related courses, we are getting a lot more of our customers on board with moving beyond the text to next, just the click to next page type stuff. So we've put out a lot more courses with videos in them, even if they're just a minute and a half little animated video vignettes. We did a course for a civil rights based course, and it was for the WIC, the Women, Infants and Children program here in Michigan. And we were able to put together, I think it was almost 10 little video vignettes giving examples of civil rights violations in a clinic setting, whether it's somebody doing racial discrimination, ADA violations, things like that. And it helps get the message across, and we've gotten such good feedback because they're not just reading the words on the page, they're seeing that video example, and it's getting well received from the people who are taking it.
Yeah, I'm hoping we do more and more video everywhere. Video is powerful. It's actually a lot easier than having to do a ton of authoring, and video is getting cheaper and cheaper to make. I mean, you have a cell phone, you got a video camera, and it's amazing what you can do with that. Do you guys go to a studio? Do you do your own recordings, or?
We do. Interestingly enough, a lot of the ones we do are animated. We use GoAnimate for a lot of ours because we let the customers know that sure, we can bring actors in, but if you want a lot more diversity, it's hard to go wrong with some of the animation software that's out there now.
Yep.
GoAnimate particularly has really upped their game lately. For the longest time, we were having trouble finding even stock images of Muslim women, somebody with like the head wraps, things like that. Right. It was hard to even find those in stock imagery, but GoAnimate's even upped that game, and we now have those available. They have the Hindu, as far as like with the red dot, they've added those. Right. So lots of different diversity and options available as far as we need somebody who's overweight, we need somebody who's Caucasian, we need Hispanic, we need a pregnant teenager. I mean, we don't have to go looking for a pregnant teenager in the neighborhood, we can just make them.
Yeah, GoAnimate's fun. We just actually got a full subscription to it not too long ago, and it actually is fun. You can create pretty quickly. You can create nice short scenarios, you can add your audio, they come with all sorts of stuff. And you're right, they've added a lot more to it since I looked at it originally several years ago. It's definitely grown, and And they're also very good about supporting the community. I noticed they send you a lot of updates, email updates of, hey, have you done this? Can you do this? Here's some tutorials. They're pretty good at that.
We've also recently purchased licenses for VideoScribe, but we've not had a chance to play around with that yet.
That was which one? Video?
VideoScribe.
Oh, VideoScribe. I've seen that, yeah.
Yep, it does like the whiteboard animation. Yeah. We've got customers that are asking for that. They really like that.
Yeah.
So just upping our game with our video capabilities and getting people to understand the message that you can get across in a course can be a lot more powerful if you can animate something or even just a handwriting the words on the screen versus... Right.
The only thing I think about VideoScribe is if you see it too much, then it starts getting, okay, well, I've seen that already. It's so, judicious use is probably the best on that one, so people don't get tired of it. But I think it's really cool what they've done. It's really easy to work with. It is fun when you do that. You don't have to animate everything by hand anymore, because those are nice tools. So you're doing a lot of those scenarios in GoAnimate, and they just import them into Lectora and good to go?
We tend to do a lot of, we pair our tools. So we'll use GoAnimate to develop. Then we use, a lot of times we'll use Camtasia to record it.
Oh, interesting.
So that we can add our own music or chop it up if we need to add like text in between. Yeah, so we use Camtasia a lot to do the finished products. We get the MP4s and then put that in Lectora. Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Have you seen the new Camtasia?
I have not yet. I'm excited to play with it.
It's different, but I also have a Mac that I use every so often, and it looks more like the Mac version now. So the Windows version has taken on the Mac kind of look and feel. I'm not sure it's exactly the same. I haven't played too much with it, but it did come with the new Inspire. So, and I have another copy of it, but I never upgraded that one. So that's still on, I think, Camtasia 9 or 8. And
I think 8 is the one that came with the last version of Lectora. It's the same as Snagit. I'm excited to play with Snagit 13.
Yeah, it looks interesting. Definitely, Snagit's cool.
I mean, I just did a training session down at the state this past week on showing them how to use Snagit. We're about to go into some user acceptance testing, and we were trying to show them how to grab screenshots for like logging defects and things. So I was running them through how to use Snagit really quick, and I showed them how you could do both vertical and horizontal scroll captures, and they're like, "Oh my God, we didn't know you could do that. That's awesome!"
Well, you know, Camtasia will record a whole web page. So let's say, for example, you have a long web page. It'll start at the top and just scroll it and record it as it's going, and now you have a graphic or a video of the whole thing. Yeah. Which is cool. We have to do that for a project right now. We're using Lectora for it because Lectora is one of the few tools that will also handle the scroll wheel on a mouse. There's an action for that. So because we have to do a help system, the help system starts here where you do your search, and then you go like 5 pages down. So this allows us to scroll it, and they can see things, and it's almost like going to an anchor point, but you can do it with the scroll wheel. None of the other tools that I know even look at the scroll wheel on a mouse. So that was really important because we can simulate in real world what the application does rather than fake out, okay, now click on the sidebar, click it again, try a third time. And it's just not the same because they wouldn't be doing that in the real world.
How does a course like that work in responsive?
I haven't tried in responsive yet, and fortunately, in this case, it's not needed as responsive. It would be hard because this is a widescreen course where they've got a lot of content. So I don't think for responsive it would work because it's just too much. It's and then the application that it ties into is a full screen desktop app with a ton of fields. Okay. So that would not be a good responsive. Thank God. that would be a pain to do in responsive because you'd have to cut everything to quadrants, or not even smaller than quadrants, probably eighths, and then you lose all idea of what you're actually doing. Yeah. So for the user, they'd be confused.
The benefits. Some of the benefits of going to like the portrait phone and the landscape phone is we were thinking desktop mode, where our desktop was 1009 by 662. That's the size of our course, period. If it goes over that, we'll go to a new page. Yep. So it was really hard to break that mindset when we got into the phone views. We're like, wait a second, we're on a mobile device. Why can't we just scroll? So then, so it's getting past the scrolling text boxes to
Right.
making sure it was a scrollable page, because
Right.
scrolling text boxes aren't real fun on,
No.
especially Android devices don't like them.
Right, right. And the scrolling, you can do it. The only problem with the scrolling is when it's a really big page, they're scrolling a lot. And they can do it with their finger, they can move things. But and you're right, Android devices don't scroll too well sometimes, period. I've had issues with even simple like pinch or squeeze gestures. I had a Note 7. It didn't explode, but I had to get rid of it. And I had a Note 5 before, which was much better, but it did run a little hot. And so I switched to the Moto G-Force, which is a 5.5-inch screen. It's nice. Scrolling sucks on this thing. I absolutely hate this. When you're trying to pinch, it just doesn't respond well. Whereas the Note was like perfect. It just went foop, foop, and it was like dot, dot. This one is like, come on, a little bit more. Do I need 2 or 3 fingers now? I need 3, but then all of a sudden it needs 2. It's a nice phone, but I can't wait to get rid of it. I've only had it for about 2 months, so.
For personal use, I've always had Androids, whether it was a Motorola. The last one I had was an HTC M8. I've got an HTC 10 now.
I like the HTC, but they got rid of my Max. I had a 1 Max. I liked the big phone. It was like 5.9 inches. I love that. It was great. The problem is, I don't think they have a big one anymore.
I'm not sure. I know my parents just got the Moto. What is the new Moto one? They got
That's when I have the Moto Z Force.
Yeah, the Moto's. It might have been that one.
There's a Z.
The one
There's
you can
two.
get
There's
the
a Z.
pieces for the back.
Yeah, that's this one.
Yeah.
And I have one of those pieces. I've got the, is it JBL? I think it's a JBL
The speakers.
speaker. They sound a little better, but is it worth $100-something? No.
My parents, for smartphones, they each got one of those. They got the giant camera to smack onto it. They got the speakers. I'm like, good Lord,
They went all out.
Saw you guys coming.
Yeah, and you know what the bad part is? The camera. It's a Leica, I think. It looks really nice, but it takes away the actual wide angle that this has.
Oh, really?
So it actually gives you much more of a crop, and you're paying $350 for that. You can buy a pretty nice small camera if you want to that shoots 4K. So I don't know. I didn't buy the Leica one. We have a ton of cameras in here anyway, but that one was like, no. And the reviews were not good on it. That's why I didn't get that one. I was like, no, I guess we'll avoid that. But I did get the speakers. Yeah, they sound a little better, but not enough to warrant. Actually, it's a speaker and a battery. It gives you something like 30% more battery. It's not a full charge, but it gives you some. It does have a good charge. It will last forever, but I just find it clunky.
It does. It makes it huge and heavy, and about the only thing
it does.
You
You can't put it in. You can't put it. You have to take it on and off. You can't carry it with you. So if you want it on your desk, you just leave it on. You can listen to a book or some music, and it's okay for that. But it's thick. You couldn't put it like in a wallet, or you definitely can't put it in clothing if that's what you like to do, like in pants pockets. It won't fit.
Yeah.
It won't fit. It'll be huge. So anyway, we just switched.
I saw that.
I go, we haven't done that one in a while. We have a couple buttons we don't use often.
Okay.
And they're easy to hit. I was going, that's cool. But I wound up alone. I was abandoned. It was horrible. No. Anyway. Well, Jane, it's a pleasure having you on again. I would definitely look forward to having you on in the future. I guess we're all going to get into 17 over the next probably, we're going into the year 17, and we've got 17 to play with Lectora. So coincidence? I don't know. It should be fun. I'm looking forward to actually getting into the new features and seeing where they take it, because there's stuff happening. There's stuff I can't talk about that I know that they're going to put in, which is going to be really, really cool. But that's all I can say. Wait, look for cool. Well, it's coming.
I'm excited about it, and with Lori being on my manager being on the oh God, it's not the planning committee. What is the
the advisory board, Lectora advisory board, the lab, the LAB.
Yeah, she'll come out of meetings. She's like, "Oh, there's something so cool coming, but I can't tell you guys." I'm like, "Well, then don't do that."
Yeah, that just creates anxiety, right?
But no, I'm excited I'm actually going to go to this year's Lectora user conference.
Oh, I'll see you there then.
I'm going to be submitting proposals for presenting. We'll see if those work.
Cool.
But
that'll be good. Well, anyway, well, it's been a pleasure again. Have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever you like. Just enjoy yourself. It's going to be sometime. Do you guys taking any time off?
I'll probably take the week between Christmas and New Year's off.
Good.
But other than that, no plans to go anywhere.
Yeah, we wanted to, but all the customers, they want it all now. It's like now. You had 3 months to plan. Now. Okay.
Yeah.
It happens. But anyway, we'll have a great one, and we will see you really soon on LectoraLive. Bye, everyone. Have a great holiday. We'll see you in 2017. Take care.